Hi folks, this is Patrick Nuri with Northwest Treasures, and I'm going to treat you tonight with a little bit of my fluorescent rock collection. Now we're going to talk about a subject that has to do a lot with fluorescent rocks and minerals, and that is the electromagnetic spectrum. First of all, I want you to look here. We've got a set of rocks and minerals that are all set up and arranged in a very dark place. Has to be if you're going to see what I think you'll be real pleased to see. This is incandescent lighting that I'm using, so it is the visible part of the electromagnetic spectrum. You can easily see it, but there's something else going on with these rocks that is activated by another special light called ultraviolet light. And very few minerals actually have this phenomenon. But anyway, I wanted you to take a close look, first of all, at just what we're going to look at under ultraviolet light. You can see some of the rocks and minerals they're kind of nice to look at. Some of them you'd probably just walk right over, not put in your bag. But we're going to look at these here in a little bit. But first, I want to talk to you about the relationship between light and what the Bible has to say. Now, in the very first chapter of Genesis, the first day of creation, the first words of God were this: "Then God said, let there be light. And there was light." Now, it's a very simple statement, but it's very, very comprehensive. We're not just talking about light that you can see, we're talking about energy. It's the energy that drives the universe. It's atomic energy, and that is really pictured well in what we call the electromagnetic spectrum. The electromagnetic spectrum is more than visible light. It measures energy waves all the way from low frequency waves called radio waves through microwaves, infrared. This little section right here that's circled, that's how much of the electromagnetic spectrum can be seen by the naked eye. Then there's ultraviolet, X-rays, and gamma rays. Now you'll notice that the lower frequency are non-penetrable, but the more frequency there is in the wavelengths, you'll get into like a high frequency wavelength of energy, and these are very penetrating. X-rays penetrate somewhat. Gamma rays can penetrate all the way into the bone and can be very, very dangerous. We're going to concentrate here on the ultraviolet section of the electromagnetic spectrum. So what I just showed you is the part of the spectrum that you can see. And if you use a special prism, then that breaks up the light into various color patterns, and that's what we call the visible light. But here we're going to use a purple light called ultraviolet light. Now, what is fluorescence? Well, fluorescence is the phenomenon of light emission from an object that can only be activated by a special ultraviolet light plus activators within the mineral. So here you see an example of calcite. The mineral calcite is just kind of a milky white color naturally, but when it's subjected to ultraviolet light, there are activators within the calcite that give it a blue glow, and it is a very pretty color. So we'll see some interesting things tonight as we look at it through the ultraviolet light. So what causes fluorescence? Well, first of all, a particular kind of light called a photon, and that's just subjecting it to a particular kind of light on the light spectrum, or energy excites an electron. So we're getting in now to the atomic level of things. It actually excites the electron and so the electron moves. And then when the light is removed, the electron comes to rest, and of course the fluorescent color disappears. So when we talk about, again, what causes the fluorescence, in addition to the light, we also observe emission of colored light from minerals that absorbs the ultraviolet light of the fluorescent lamp. So we've got another piece of calcite here. Under a particular kind of ultraviolet light called long wave, you get a particular color. And then under the short wave, you get another type of color. And when you look at these things called activators, there are certain minerals, and really only about 15%. So if you have about 4,200 minerals, not many, between 500 and 600 minerals are actually going to contain these activators or elements, special elements that were sometime introduced into the mineral, either when the mineral originated or through even hydrothermal alteration. I tend to look at it as maybe introduced at the time of the flood, when some of the chemical structures were altered by the hot water generated during the flood. So these activators are really special metals. And these metals are positively charged ions, or cation ions. And some of the activators, are not very many, but tungsten is one, molybdenum, an element, lead, boron, titanium, manganese, uranium, and chromium. All of these are elements on the periodic table. And these elements then in a form, they're minerals, but they're positively charged, and when an ultraviolet light comes into contact with a mineral that has these, then you get that special fluorescence. So we're really dealing with the subject of chemistry and with physics. And so what I'd like to do is give you another look, first of all, at just what you're actually seeing with the naked eye. You'll take a good look and see if you can even guess, okay, what colors are these going to show? Right now we're just kind of looking at, there's one that's a real pretty blue, but most of them are kind of a drab white and gray. There's a pretty pink one over here. And then this one here is actually a rock. That's called a thunder egg. We're going to see what it does. And this one here is a special one. It's an agate. Now, normally quartz does not fluoresce, but you're going to notice that this one has a metal in it. And remember, the uranium is most likely the cause of the color that'll be produced by this. And it'll be quite a surprise to you, I'm sure, when we see it. Some of these are actually zinc ore. For instance, this spotted one here, that's zinc ore. So we saw that zinc was one of those elements, metals, that acts as an activator. So when fluorescent light shines on these things and they have those particular activators, you're going to get a glow. But this is it's kind of a rare thing. The hobby is a wonderful hobby to collect these fluorescent rocks and minerals, to find them and see what happens with them. But it is an expensive hobby because these are pretty rare minerals, and so you have to be judicious when you're building your collection. So I'm going to go ahead and turn out some lights, make it real dark in here, because you have to have darkness in order to see things. So I'm going to turn these lights off now. Okay, I think we're pretty much in the dark. We're still at about 8 o'clock here in the West Coast when I'm doing this, and so we still have some light outside, but hopefully we've made it dark enough to where we can see some things. So if you're ready, I'll go ahead and turn this on. So this is shortwave ultraviolet light. There you go. Isn't that fascinating? Now notice the thunder egg back there. What colors do you see in that? Actually generating some color. Well, it's types of green, isn't it? That green is due to the activator uranium. And the same with the agates. Remember I told you the agate had an activator in it. That is also uranium. And the spotted one, zinc ore. So one of the activators in that is, of course, zinc. It's a lot of fun to see what these are going to do with the right kind of ultraviolet light. A pretty piece of fluorite in the back. Fluorite is not 100% consistently fluorescent, but for the most part it is. It was the mineral that was studied in the 1800s, and that's how fluorescent really gets its name, was from fluorite. Very pretty mineral under ultraviolet. And you notice that was the mineral that was green, naturally speaking, but this is absorbing now the ultraviolet light, but emitting, because of the activators, these wonderful colors. These are found in all kinds of places. Many good fluorescent rocks can be found in Arizona. That one back there, that's kind of a blend of, there you go, right there. Yeah, it's kind of a blend of a red and a blue. That is called Purple Passion. I'm not sure why they call it that, but the mine it's from is Purple Passion Mine. Arizona has a lot of hydrothermal activity at one time in the past, because Arizona has about 600 volcanoes and a lot of limestone. And so there are a lot of neat fluorescent rocks out of Arizona. And this one back here, this thunder egg, there we go, right there. You can see there, of course, the pretty blue here fluoresces as blue, but it is really highlighted under fluorescent light. So I'm going to let you enjoy this a little bit here. Wonderful colors of yellow and green. And this one here looks like the sky at night with a lot of stars in it. Another pretty green, red, and green striped rock. Now, I want you to pay real close attention for a minute, because I'm going to pull the lamp away, and I want you to see what happens. Here we go. Now, we've got a phenomenon here called phosphorescence, and that just means that it's the electrons are taking their time in settling down. And but eventually they do settle down. Some are longer lasting than others. This one over here on the left is really quite active. And I'll tell you, this is very pretty. I've had an entire wall decorated with stuff at one time on shelves and so on, but boy, we'd turn out the lights and it was very pretty. You can go into my shop And on the floor, because I work with this stuff, on the floor there will be shards and dust of fluorescent material. And so the floor is kind of nice at night to use one of these lights. But again, we're talking about the phenomenon, first of all, of created light in the form of the electromagnetic spectrum and chemistry. So chemistry and physics are both involved here. Chemistry dealing with the elements that are involved, and the phenomenon of in the area of physics with light emission and absorption, especially ultraviolet light, that form of the spectrum that now you can't see with the naked eye. It has to be activated and then emitted. So that's fluorescence, one of my favorite subjects, and you can sure learn a lot of things from it. So I'll leave this here while I turn on the light. There's something else I wanted to show you. Now notice when I turn on the light, the incandescent lighting, it tends to flush out the ultraviolet light. Now some of these, the reason why you can still see them is they're just especially filled with these activators and are very powerful. Others are really, the light flushes it out, the incandescent lighting. So get a good look, and then I'm going to pull this away and I'm going to have you try to remember ones that you saw here. You remember the green, the agate that was green? Well, not naturally speaking, it's not. And the thunder egg back here that had a little bit of green. Get the flashlight. Not here, you don't. And this one here, the spotted one, remember, was green and red. This particular fluorescent rock was also phosphorescent, along with this little piece of calcite here, which was phosphorescent. And then this red, green and red, or orange, green and orange really is what it was, striped. That was pretty. This one over here was a vibrant green. And then, of course, the thunder egg back there with the blue pattern, fluoresced blue. And that rock back there, which was, we call the purple passion. Say it's kind of drab. You'd totally overlook it. And then here's the fluorite that is green naturally. And then, of course, a beautiful bluish color, fluorescent. This white one here was a vibrant orange. So that is the phenomenon of fluorescence. Nobody really knows exactly why we have fluorescent rocks and minerals, but I am going to guess that it's all related to the Genesis flood. And you know, there were a lot of rocks formed during the Genesis flood, and a lot of metamorphosis going on, and a lot of alteration from the hot waters and the chemical mixtures and things that were being spread out by the flood. And I tend to think that's where at least most of the fluorescent rocks and minerals really got their origin. So I hope you've enjoyed the lesson today, and just want to remind you, we do have these kits at our website, northwestrockandfossil.com, and it includes the light, the batteries, both the shortwave and the long wave are included, the batteries, and 10 nice fluorescent samples, all in a nice box, and activities and explorations for you to learn more. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and have a good evening. Bye-bye.